health is real. Seek help and the stigma. On the news this evening, reaction as Rivers Administrator Ibas pleads for more time to brief Reps Committee. Defection of Delta State Governor, others stir more reactions. Community leader in Ahoda criticizes government's approach to flood warning. Senate President Akpabio to lead Nigeria's delegation to Pope's funeral. On the foreign scene, U.S. judge arrested for allegedly helping immigrants. I'm Sam Chinedu, and the news continues after the break. Back. The Rivers State Sole Administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, says the situation in Rivers State remains fragile and needs to be handled with care. Retired Vice Admiral Ibas said this while addressing House of Representatives ad hoc committee in Rivers State today. Vice Admiral Ibas, who apologized for not attending an earlier meeting, asked the committee for more time to prepare a full report. In his response, the committee chairman, Professor Julius Inhobere, described the Sole Administrator's appearance and apology as a demonstration of respect and responsibility. The committee resolved to reschedule the meeting with the administrator. Recall that the ad hoc committee had, after its inauguration by the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, invited the administrator to a meeting on the 17th of April, but the meeting was not held at the instance of the administrator. Yesterday, also, the scheduled meeting between the administrator and the ad hoc committee could not hold as the administrator was not available. As you may know, while inaugurating the ad hoc committee, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas charged the committee members to carry out their duties without being partisan. The committee is drawn from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Meanwhile, a political scientist, Dr. Anthony Egobweze, says rescheduling of the meeting between the Rivers State Administrator and the House of Representatives ad hoc committee is not in the best interest of Rivers people. Dr. Egobweze, a lecturer in the Department of Political Science, Rivers State University, said this while speaking with our correspondent.
I want to say that giving the grounds for postponement where the meetings with the National Assembly at this point should not actually be the best thing to do at this point in time, because in a democracy, the people shall govern, and in this circumstance, the people that should govern is the National Assembly, which has the obvious responsibility to legislate for Rivers State House of Assembly, which is already in a suspension.
He said the sole administrator is under obligation to present himself to the ad hoc committee for accountability and transparency.
The administrator is under obligation to present himself to the National Assembly because it is part of their responsibility. And it connotes issues of accountability and transparency, which is the hallmark of good governance. So if he doesn't have anything that he's hiding, I think the administrator should submit himself to the National Assembly and see them, because it's part of the oversight functions which the State House of Assembly was supposed to perform.
Meanwhile, Delta State Commissioner for Information Charles Aniagu says the decision by the Governor Sheriff Oborowori and his cabinet to join the APC was driven by the need to prioritize development in the state. Speaking on Nigeria Info FM's Morning Crossfire, Aniago said the PDP has become too weak to support the goals of Delta people, adding that the internal struggles within the PDP were making it difficult to maintain peace and stability in the state.
The PDP, a party we so love, has become so weak, no thanks to the greed of a number of our leaders who felt that it can only be them without having to have a broad mind, being cautious. So we have examined all these issues, and peace and stability is also a prerequisite for development. We are doing a whole lot of development in Delta. The squabbles and the turmoil in our party, the PDP, is beginning to affect our ability to settle down to deliver on those promises, because every now and then we have become very uncertain.
The commissioner said the decision would secure greater influence at the federal level for Delta State.
If moving to a place will now enable you to have some form of peace so that you can deliver more, we need that collaboration. The decision we took is because we are convinced that doing so will further cement those development trajectories that has greeted advancement of our DSC in the last month of the Oborowori administration.
In the meantime, a political scientist, Professor Ken Nweke, believes that the recent wave of defections by politicians to the APC will not necessarily determine the outcome of future elections. Professor Nweke, a lecturer in the Department of Political Science at Ignatius Ajuri University of Education, in an interview with correspondent Emeka Otuka, advised Nigerians to intensify calls for the electronic transmission of election results from polling units.
The only problem we have in this country is because things have happened in the past and people have discouraged that, they tried in 2023, their votes couldn't count, and therefore nothing would happen again. That is not true. That it happened in 2023, it does not mean that in 2027 that would happen again. Of course, what we expect here and there is for opposition, wherever they are, they can mobilize, come together, galvanize enough support from the grassroots here and there across the country that will outnumber these ones on election day.
Professor Nweke also urged Nigerians to take a cue from the 2023 governorship election in Abia State, which he described as a model that should be replicated in other states come 2027.
And not every state you can change results. In Abia, that did not happen. But it happened in 2023 does not mean that Rivers people watch anybody or any other state change their results. And so everyone must brace up to note that the future of Nigeria and the future of our children should matter to everyone. And it is not about what we gain today, because what we are gaining is something that we take to nowhere. And so it's important that we begin to do this advocacy in this direction.
In other news, a community leader in Akinima, Ahoda West local government area of Rivers State, Eniata Abieba, has expressed concern over the state government's lack of visible action to mitigate the looming flood disaster in the Orashi region. Abieba, speaking with correspondent Onyeka Chinwosu, said that despite warnings of imminent flooding from the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, the state government has yet to demonstrate any serious commitment to addressing the threat. He said he had expected proactive steps to be taken by now to reassure and protect the affected communities.
Every year, we are aware that flood must come. And at the heat of the flood, the government and other agencies and people will be running around on how to mitigate the flood through palliative supply and all that. But what you're saying, after the flood, what do they do to forestall effect of future floods? What do they do? Nothing. Because now we are in the month of April, but up to this time, there is no sign of the IDP camps, no plan of any nature for now, nothing on the ground. So we don't know the brain behind the attitude towards the mitigation of flood in the Orashi area. We don't know, because there has not been any proper plan to ensure that flood effects are being controlled.
Abieba said the yearly flood warning from government agencies should have been directed to the federal and state governments and not to citizens. The community leader said the farm tools, drugs and cash gifts distributed by the flood committee set up by the suspended governor, Siminalayi Fubara, were inadequate.
If they had brought a lot of foodstuff and cash, they don't reach out to the people. Every flooding period, I've always been at home. And I want to tell you that all these things that they distribute, I don't even get them. Like last time, they said that they were profiling those that will stay in IDP camp. How do you profile people? Then when you want to, distribute a palliative and other use, you give it to only those that are IDP camp. Whereas about thousands of people are outside, hanging on top of the water in their various homes. And you say you won't do anything to them. Then after the flood, what happens to the farmer? Nothing. So whatever thing they must have brought, I don't dispute that they did not bring. But where did those things go? It did not go to the people.
Still to come, Senate President Akpabio to lead Nigeria delegation to Pope's funeral. Stay tuned.
Some glad morning.
Back. A motorist, Mr. Meshach Uyi, is calling on the Rivers State government to intervene after he was allegedly harassed and extorted by officials of the Vehicle Inspection Office, VIO. Speaking with our correspondent, Mr. Uyi said his vehicle was impounded yesterday by VIO officers along Elingbu Road in Obiakpo local government area, after the VIO officers claimed that he was at fault for not having a first aid box in his private car. He questioned whether it is legal for private vehicles to carry a first aid box and asked the Rivers State Ministry of Transport to clarify. He also wants the ministry to confirm whether the VIO officials have authority to enforce that rule.
I was accosted by the officials of the VIO of the Rivers State government. Upon interrogation, they claimed that I did not have in my vehicle a first aid box in my private car. They insisted that I must pay a fine for not having a first aid box in my private car. Because it sounded strange to me, I demanded to see the law or an act enabling or empowering them. The Rivers State government should come and clarify. The Ministry of Transport, particularly the Permanent Secretary, since we don't have a commissioner, to come on air and clarify, because this to me is an extortion.
Mr. Uyi also raised concerns about the public safety implications of having a first aid box in a private vehicle.
We therefore call on the good people of Rivers State to join in the fight against malaria by
Apologies for that. As you may know, in October 2024, Justice Evelyn Maha of the Federal High Court in Abuja issued an order restraining the Directorate of the Road Traffic Services, commonly known as the Vehicle Inspection Office, from stopping, impounding, or confiscating vehicles on the road. The court also barred the Road Traffic Services from imposing fines on motorists. The judgment delivered on the 2nd of October 2024 stemmed from a fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by human rights activist and public interest attorney Abubakar Marshall. The general manager of Restopac Nigeria Limited, Ezekiel Adole, has denied reports suggesting that the minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, owns the Restopac Oil and Gas Company. Adole, who spoke alongside one of the station managers of Restopac, Neme George, was reacting to a viral claim posted by Symphony News on Facebook. They said the founder and sole owner of Restopac is Mr. Chris Okogu, a businessman from Delta State.
Restopac Oil and Gas, we have 4 stations in Rivers State here. One at Rumudara, the other one at Aba Road, that is Rumola. We have one at Elekaya and one at Ikoko. So I'm the one that managed 4 of them, and I don't report to Wiki. My MD, CEO, as I earlier said, is Christopher Okogu.
So the news flying around We want to let the public know that the Resto Park filling station is being owned by Mr. Chris Okobo. He's not the former governor of Rivers State. Since I joined the company, I've not had anything to do with knowing any other person apart from my boss, who is Mr. Chris Okobo.
The Chief Executive Officer of Buchi Oil and Gas Services Limited, Josephat Atusiaka, reiterated that Okogu established Resto Park Nigeria Limited in 1999 and remains its legitimate owner.
The CEO of Resto Park is my very good friend and my boss. So I want the people of Rivers State to not believe what they have seen on the social media, that the property is owned by Ezebonwa Onyesewike, the former Rivers State governor. So anybody hearing my voice from this moment should not believe that. The whole people in oil and gas industry knows the rightful owner of Resto Park, the CEO, is Chris Okobo. He's never a Rivers man. He's from Delta State. Resto Park started from former Resto Park in Eromo Odumaya, 1999. Presently now it's a total free station, Eromo Odumaya.
A correspondent who reviewed the certified true copy of the Certificate of Incorporation obtained from the Corporate Affairs Commission confirmed that Resto Park Nigeria Limited was officially registered on March 11, 1999 by Chris Okogo with an amendment made on the file on January 13, 2006. As the world marks Malaria Day today, the Rivers State Ministry of Health says it has increased efforts to reduce the impact of malaria across the state. The Permanent Secretary, Comfort Mekele Igwe, who made this known today, said the state now has a malaria prevalence rate of 11% to the national average of 23%. She said the rate places the state among the top 5 in the country with the lowest malaria rates.
We therefore call on the good people of Rivers State to join in the fight against malaria by ensure you get tested with rapid diagnostic tests or microscopy before you commence malaria treatment. All fever is not caused by malaria. Malaria rapid test is free. All pregnant women are encouraged to register for antenatal clinic in government-approved facilities.
A medical expert, Dr. Emmanuel Wobo, says early antenatal registration can help reduce the growing number of people living with human immunodeficiency virus, HIV. Dr. Wobo spoke with our correspondent on this. This year's theme is Malaria Ends With Us. Reinvest, Reimagine, Reignite. Senate President Godswill Akpabio is leading a 5-man high-level Nigerian delegation to attend the funeral of Pope Francis scheduled for Saturday. The special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said this in a statement today. The statement said the 5-member delegation will include the Minister of State, Foreign Affairs, Bianca Ojukwu, President of the Catholic Bishop Conference of Nigeria, Lucius Ugoji, Archbishop of Sokoto Diocese, Matthew Kuka, and Archbishop of Abuja Diocese, Ignatius Kaigama. On the international scene, a judge in Wisconsin has been arrested by U.S. federal authorities after allegedly trying to help an undocumented immigrant who appeared in her court avoid arrest. The U.S. Marshal Service told the BBC's U.S. partner CBS News that officers took Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Duggan into custody on Friday morning. On the news this evening, you heard reactions as Rivers State Administrator Ibas pleaded for more time to brief Reps Committee. The defection of Delta State Governor and others have continued to stir reactions. A community leader in Ahoda, Enyata Abieba, has criticized the government's approach to flood. Senate President Godswill Akpabio is to lead Nigerian delegation to Pope's funeral. On the foreign scene, a U.S. judge has been arrested for allegedly helping an illegal immigrant. The news was edited by Onyeka Chiwonsu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Sam Chinedu. Thanks for listening.